Hi, I'm Emma Rawicz, and on June 3rd I'm going to be headlining the Wycombe Jazz Festival. I'd say that my kind of journey into actually playing jazz was a little bit unusual in terms of the fact that I started quite late. I also grew up in an area of the country where there really wasn't very much live jazz going on at all. I grew up in North Devon and only picked up a saxophone around age 16, I think, and there was really not much in the way of live jazz going on, so I had to venture a bit further afield to find out about this genre. So I ended up seeing some great gigs in London and actually kind of took a bit of a route via Manchester, where I studied at Cheetham School of Music for a couple of years. And that was how I kind of had a bit of a baptism of fire and suddenly discovered this whole range of music that previously I had no idea existed. I'd honestly wanted to play the saxophone since I knew that it existed, which was when I was about 12 maybe. I'd seen an amateur big band perform somewhere in Devon and just thought that it was the coolest instrument I'd ever seen. It took a while to convince my parents to actually let me pick it up, as I already played some other instruments, namely the violin, a bit of piano and clarinet and things like that, but really just classical music. So after a few years of perseverance, I managed to convince my parents to finally let me have a saxophone lesson. And honestly, after just playing a couple of notes, I had a feeling where I just found the right instrument for me and knew that that was what I wanted to pursue. Educationally speaking, when it comes to music, I went to a normal school in Devon which had a pretty great musical department and put a lot of energy into trying to get kids into music, but there was nothing particularly focused about it, I think by virtue of the location, the fact that there wasn't a huge amount of funding in that genre. So I knew that really I had to take a step further in order to get where I wanted to get musically. So I applied for junior conservatoires when I was 16 and ended up spending a year at Junior Guildhall, which is like a kind of Saturday junior conservatoire programme, which was absolutely fantastic. However, even at that point I felt I was really behind my peers, having started so late, so decided to apply for the sixth form kind of music school. So I went to the Cheetham School of Music for my sixth form, which was very intense but a really great place to just practice all day every day and hone my craft a bit better. And now I'm at the Royal Academy of Music, which is absolutely great. I think the attraction of London for me came from the fact that there were so many wonderful musicians from whom I wanted to learn. So many great teachers, including the likes of Gareth Loughrane, Nicky Isles, Pete Churchill, Nick Smart, and I could go on, are all based down here. Obviously they travel all over the world and all over the country to play and educate, but I knew that this was a bit of an epicentre educationally and potentially the best place available to me at the time in order to go out and see loads of gigs, play some gigs of my own and meet like-minded young musicians, which was something I'd had very limited experience of previously. I think I was the only student at my secondary school that really knew what jazz was, so it was kind of quite a different situation to get to interact with people who were as passionate about the music as I was. I think one of the things that makes the UK jazz scene so special is the fact that it's just incredibly diverse, both in terms of people's backgrounds, people's cultures, and on a very basic level, the different kinds of music that come from this part of the world, you know. There are people getting into jazz inspired by folk, Afrobeat, you know, the kind of straight ahead jazz, and, you know, there's really just way too many different genres that spring from the umbrella term of jazz in the UK to name. And I think that means that people ultimately feel like there will be a place in that scene for them, no matter what they play or do or what kind of music really resonates with them. So it means that you can come here and be completely yourself and know that there will be other people who are into what you're doing. A mentor of mine and someone I play with a lot is an amazing piano player and composer called Ivo Neem, and I think he's really quite special when it comes to just who he is as a musician. He writes and plays music that's just kind of mind-blowing and is also incredibly supportive. There are people like Asaf Serkis, an amazing drummer, who also plays all over the world. People like James Madgen, Kit Downs hail from here. And it's it's really just amazing that even within those very few names, who are also kind of a particular generation, the massive range of music and kind of style that comes from those people. And I find them all super inspiring, and I think that they can inspire a lot of people of all ages on the scene. So I was lucky enough to record my second album back in June 2022, and it features some of my favourite musicians and favourite people as well. They're really all very cool. And it features Ivo Neem on piano, Antler on guitar, Asaf Circus on drums, Amy Churchill on vocals on some tracks, and Connor Chaplin on bass. And we were lucky enough to complete a 17-date UK tour prior to recording, which was really cool because it meant we really got to explore the kind of musical opportunities prior to getting in the studio, which was a really great feeling. They're all massively experienced musicians and established in their own right, and it really is an honour to think that they were up for playing my music and recording with me. So that album is called Chroma, and it'll be coming out in probably August time, I think. But it's been a real learning process for me to spend time with such experienced musicians. I've really learnt a lot. Honestly, I just sent them a message. It was one of these things where there are so many amazing artists and musicians and mentors on the scene, and I genuinely live by the rule that if you don't ask, you never ever get. So the worst thing they could have said was, no, sorry, I don't want to do that. And luckily for me, they were all really up for it. And as a result, I think we've formed some musical and professional relationships that are going to last a lifetime. And that's been such a learning for me, is like just, you know, to continue that ethos of just ask and see what happens. It could definitely be overwhelming sometimes, the just kind of crazy rate of progress that's happened for me on a career level, I guess. I've managed to meet and play with so many fantastic musicians who previously it seemed like something that was only going to happen in my wildest dreams. So I feel massively blessed to be in the position that I'm in. And it is really surprising at times. I just feel like, how did I get here, you know? But I feel like a large dose of luck is involved, and also the support from some very, very lovely musicians that I have the pleasure of working with. So it's great, and I just hope it continues. One of the reasons that this gig is going to be happening, which is really exciting, is that the incredible vibraphonist Ralph Wild works with the Bucks Music Trust, and we've done a few gigs together, and he's an amazing musician. And it was really funny, he got in touch with me via Instagram one day, having done maybe one gig together, and he just said, this is really funny, but the kids at the Bucks Music Trust where I teach have just brought in their own arrangement of one of your tunes. Like, no input from Ralph or anybody, and they just heard it on Spotify or somewhere and decided they'd like to play it. And that was really, I felt really touched by that, to know that there were young people out there who were enjoying the music to the extent that they wanted to put the effort into figuring out how to play it. So that was really touching for me to start with. And then Ralph got in touch more recently asking if I'd like to come and do a concert at the Wycombe Jazz Festival of some of the music with these amazing young musicians. And I was so up for it. You know, it's just, there's nothing more exciting than seeing what's going on in the next generation and understanding what they're getting excited about musically, and also getting the chance to play my music with different people, especially young musicians who are really excited about the music, is always an honour, and I can't wait to get stuck in.